They drew first blood.
So I just found out there's a new Rambo movie, Rambo Last Blood. Now, a lot of you don't know this, but I'm a huge Rambo fan. I've been a huge Rambo fan since Rambo First Blood. A lot of other people don't understand that Rambo isn't just about the action. What made Rambo good was not even the action. Okay, you're only going to hear that from me, a true die-hard Rambo fan. Rambo was about the plot, the storyline. Rambo had one of the deepest plots in all of movie history.
Talk to me, Johnny.
They drew first blood, not me.
Now, the thing about Rambo, the reason people think that it's nothing, it's all it is about killing and action, is because 90% of the movies are killing and action. But that 10% plot, it's deep. It's very, very deep. And it doesn't get the respect it deserves. Uh, Now, here's another interesting thing. So when Rambo 4 came out, Sylvester Stallone said the reason he was making part 4 was because Rambo 3 didn't finish the storyline, and he had always wanted to make a part 4 to finally close the storyline. And what is the storyline? Spoiler alert in case you haven't seen Rambo, but you know that the main 10% plot you find out in the very first Rambo. There's a quote. Let me see if I can pull it up here. There's a quote when the colonel's talking to Rambo and he's telling him a story. Says, "Let me tell you a story, John. There was a sculptor. He found this stone, a special stone. He dragged it home and he worked on it for months until it was finally finished. When he was ready, he showed it to his friends. They said he had created a great masterpiece. But the sculptor said he hadn't created anything. The statue was always there. He just chipped away the rough edges. You're always gonna." And then he says to Rambo, he says, "You're always gonna be tearing away at yourself until you come to terms with who you are, until you come full circle." And what is the definition of coming full circle? Coming full circle is when this is the, quote, official Rambo definition, is when a disturbed combat veteran with PTSD, which is what Rambo has. You watch Rambo First Blood, you especially see his PTSD. The guy he can't function in regular society. The guy's like, that's kind of what causes that whole scenario is that it's not just that he's some turned into some drifter. It's that he doesn't fit into society anymore. He's got PTSD, and perhaps he never did fit into society, but the PTSD sure made it worse. And anyways, a PTS coming full circle is when a disturbed combat veteran with PTSD comes to terms with who they are, a combat soldier. And in this case, it's a full-blooded killing machine. That's what Rambo is. He's a killing machine. That's all he's ever been good at. That's all he is good at and all he's ever been good at and ever will be good at. That's what the first three movies is implying. Rambo's trying to escape being a combat veteran. He doesn't want to go back to combat. He keeps spending the first whole three movies he's trying to escape combat, but he just can't escape it. It keeps coming back to him. And he keeps getting re-immersed into that world and turning into a cold-blooded killing machine. And we're left to understand, perhaps at the end of the third movie, we're thinking maybe that is what coming full circle is to Rambo. Rambo has to understand that he doesn't belong in society. He will always belong to, essentially the government or some sort of combat zone or in some place around the world. At the end of the third movie, he does say Rambo. He does say something along the lines to the colonel, like "It's got to end for me sometime," talking about the killing days. But it didn't really end the storyline. So that's when Rambo 4 came along and to put a long story short, same thing happens. Rambo actually comes to terms in that movie. He says, you know what, I am nothing but a killing machine. And he goes out there and he enjoys it. He loves, he takes full advantage of it. He hates himself for it, but he's accepted that he's nothing but a killing machine. And he goes on a killing rampage. But then, he finally has these, he's got these flashbacks of the colonel telling him, when are you going to turn full circle? And he realizes what full circle really means, and that he's going to come to peace with himself. He's come to peace with himself and accepted what he's done his entire life. He was nothing but a killing machine. He had a lust for violence, and he's come to terms with that, and he's accepted that, and he's happy with it. That's a quote, a semi-quote from Sylvester Stallone himself. That was the idea to the ending there. And then he returns home. And he did talk about home in Rambo Part 1. So let's get on with the trailer. I know that was a big rant, I know. Let's get on with the trailer. I'm the most excited person of all time for this trailer. And I hope it's a good trailer. I don't want to be disappointed. I'm going to be real pissed off. I don't want them to. I hope this wasn't a money grab. I hope Sylvester Stallone didn't rush this, because the thing is, he ended the storyline. Rambo came full circle. He returned home. So before I even watch live and blind reaction, I'm going to state maybe something happens back home. Wife gets killed. Son gets murdered. Dad gets murdered. Who knows? Something happens causing him to then re-immerse himself. Back to the action. Oh man, it's already getting good. Yeah, so this is where he returned.
I've watched people I've loved die.
Dang.
Some fast with a bullet. Some not enough left to bury.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road. I'm gonna ride till I can't.
So he returned to a farm. What appeared to be a
All these
farm.
years I've kept my secrets. But the time has come to face my past. And if it comes looking for me, they will welcome death.
Oh man. They drew first blood, is that what that said?
Revenge.
Ride till I can't no more.
Oh, he wants revenge on the army?
I want them to know that death is coming.
What?
And there's nothing they can do to stop it.
Dang, Last Blood is so fitting. That is such a fitting title. Let's rewind that. What did he say? Somewhere in there, did it say they drew first blood? So it's a repeat of movie number 1, being that society somehow draws first blood against him this September. Where did it say that? There's they drew first blood. Okay, so something happens. Maybe the military comes for him again, and this time he refuses to go. I really don't know. I mean, it kind of sad if that's the enemy. If the enemy is, the same colonel that took him under his wing, something along those lines. Very interesting story here. Maybe they killed one of his family members. Maybe they did something, killed his horse, killed his dog, whatever. Maybe that's the first blood that they drew to lure him out. And then I think this is going to be the goriest, bloodiest movie of all the Rambo movies. You heard it here first. Smash like, subscribe. I would like to get this channel to 100 million subscribers.
I'm your friend, Johnny. I was there with you knee deep in all that blood and guts. I covered your ass more than once.